pay application. We're going to go over the RMS Advantage application, DTI, and we're going to talk a little bit about the point rental. So some compensation, some bonuses, how to fill out an app, kind of section by section. Hopefully a lot of you are familiar with how to do this, but this will be a refresher for some, and this will be the introduction for others. So what I have here is I have page by page the merchant application highlighted of the sections that need to be filled out. I've got some notes that are on the left hand side, and you can follow along in your book as well. We should have these applications set up to go. Another key point, this sample application is in the sales portal, ready to go, so you can have this as a reference point whenever you might need it. When filling out the application, I've got the highlighted sections up here. Can everybody see this? Do you need me to blow it up a little bit? Are we familiar with this? Are we good? You want to blow it up?
I think we're good.
We're good? Okay. Just to go over some key points on here. When you're filling out the application, obviously you're going to have to fill out the business legal name, their address, phone number, if they have a PO box or something like that. All of this section is required. The thing to really note here is going to be your federal tax ID number information. Now this has to be a true number that matches this merchant's legal name. It has to match the IRS. If it doesn't match the IRS and you're off a digit, the deal will not get approved. So WorldPay will only approve if to the wording matches, it can't be ABCD Inc. with this tax ID number. It won't approve. So the underwriters are checking an IRS database to make sure this tax ID number. Again, we have no way of pulling federal tax ID numbers for every state. So you really have to do your due diligence and get that. It's just as important as getting that social security number. Going down into beneficial control and ownership information. This is a new requirement as of May 11th of this year. So the IRS and the Treasury Department have kind of teamed up, and they want information from all financial, the FinCEN rule, federal FinCEN rule, financial institutions now have to report on applications. So that's opening up a bank, opening up a merchant account, anything like that, have to report beneficial owners. A beneficial owner is anybody that owns 25% or more of the business. So we've got plenty of space right here for beneficial ownership. And what they ask for are 4 key points. And that's going to be your name, your date of birth, your social, and your address. So you have to get the social for beneficial ownerships. You have to get the social for the control owner. And the way that the WorldPay application goes, it's kind of redundant, but this is the way that they do it. Your control owner is more than likely going to be your president, the person signing the application. They're going to be the one whose signature is down here. But because they're a control owner and they probably have more than 25% ownership or more, you have to list them again as a beneficial ownership. We're trying to fight this. We haven't won. So you've got John Smith listed twice, both as the control owner and then as the beneficial owner. And then underneath that, you'll find if you had any different types of beneficial ownerships. So this does have to be there. The underwriters do have systems that they pull from looking this up. And we have memos in the sales portal, pages on, more tips of what beneficial ownership is and how everybody uses it. So all of our partners, you have to provide beneficial ownership. Even if they switch and somebody says they don't want to do this, we never had to do this before, if they ever switch processors or open up a new bank account, they're going to have to do it. We're not big bad WorldPay. This is a new rule. We have tons of documentation that you can add to your pitch books to back that up. So this is not a WorldPay rule. This is from the Treasury Department.
Does it really matter which one signs? I mean, let's say Jane is there and John is not.
All we need is, I believe the signature on the application needs to be somebody that's on the Articles of Incorporation for a corporation. So you don't have to have the president sign. So then Jane would be the control owner probably, and then you would just move John Smith down too as well. You can kind of mix and match that. But let me double check on that for 100% sure on that. Usually what you're going to see is the president is going to be your control owner. They're going to be the ones that sign it. But if you wanted to get the vice president to do that and they're not the control owner, just double check with your relationship manager with those one-off situations.
Okay.
All right, great. On page 2 of the application, I am going to blow this up a little bit because I want to bring up this section right here. And it's gotten a little fuzzy on me when I blow it up on the screen, but section 4 at the top of the page is really important. This is what sets underwriting guidelines. They're going to know what to expect from the merchant. So right here, this is annual volume. They need to make sure that you're estimating. Now this could be an estimate, but it's got to be a really good guesstimate on that as well. So they need to know what to expect. If you say your merchant's going to do $10,000 a year and then they run $10,000 in 1 month, there's a good possibility of a hold on their account. We've got people monitoring transactions and volume and comparing them to what they should be to help protect from fraud. So your annual volume, your average ticket, those should be right on the money. You can pretty much estimate what your merchant's going to be doing per month by looking at statements or a forecast of what they have. Now again, if you say that your average ticket is $35 and you've run a $100 ticket, nobody's flagging that, okay? It's if we have 3 months of history of an average ticket of $35 and all of a sudden 10 $5,000 transactions come through, the fraud department, the risk department sees that. So when they do monitor them, we do need to be accurate, and it will affect the approval process and all of that. And we don't want to hold our merchants' money. It's okay to have a $5,000 average ticket. You might have to have some backup to go with that. You might provide statements, might provide something, but it's better to be honest on this, obviously, so that your merchant's money isn't held up. They want that money the next day, so let's make sure we fill out the applications correctly, and we'll get them approved. We can do high tickets. Over here, we've got a couple sections that's going to tell underwriting how to expect these transactions to come through. If you can read this, this is card present versus card not present. All that means is, do I have the card in front of me? It doesn't, I don't care if I do or not. It's going to set different underwriting guidelines, but just let me know. Your standard retail business is probably going to key 90%, or is probably going to swipe 90% of the time. 10% of the time, they might take a call over the phone, or a card might not read and they might have to hand key it in. Totally fine. It's also fine to do 50-50. Say you're a restaurant or pizza joint. You know, you're gonna have a lot of pizza deliveries. So you're gonna have 50% card not present because you might be taking that order over the phone. Totally fine. The underwriters just need to know what to expect so that when they see a lot of keyed-in transactions, if that's the case, they know to expect them and they can follow the volume, the average ticket, the business type, and everything matches and there's no hold on their money. Believe me, your merchants, you will get that phone call before we do about if they're missing money. You don't want that call. It's not a pleasant call. So let's try and keep it accurate and get the documents that we might need up front to get the deal approved. But let's be accurate with their card present, card not present. And then they're going to want to break it down just one more section here. So if the card is, present versus not present, they want to know the swipe versus mail order, telephone order as well. So you kind of just break it down into one more section. So these need to be 100%, and then these need to be 100%. It's just a different way of just telling you what they're doing with their cards. So this is for your retail or your MOTO, mail order, telephone order. So you're going to have your 90/10s over here. But if you're an internet account, you're not going to have swipe versus MOTO. This will both stay 0, and this will be 100%. You'll never have a swipe on an internet account. You can't swipe. So you never have a mail order, telephone order on an internet account. So that's just going to go into a virtual terminal probably. You can't put a shopping cart into a telephone order. So that's very simple, but it's a common section that is missed a lot, and it will hold up the deal. We need to know how these cards are going to be expected to come in. Obviously, we need to know the the service type, what kind of business it is, and the refund policy as well. If you're doing construction or anything like that, it's nice to know what their refund policy is. If you're getting into bigger tickets, they're definitely going to want to know what that is. It's going to affect the underwriting process. So any one of these is an okay answer. It's just whatever it is, it is. Again, but when you're talking about $10,000 tickets, construction industry, they might ask for that policy and paper. But for your everyday merchant, any of these does not affect the approval process, but just let's know what it is. Seasonal sales. So seasonal sales is going to be if your merchant is, a marina in Wisconsin. They're not going to be open January, February, or whatever, December probably. So they're going to close down. So if they mark that they're seasonal, we have the ability to close their account down so that there's no billings. No statement fees, no monthly fees, nothing like that. Their account is considered dormant. This doesn't stop the lease. A lot of people think that you can go seasonal with your lease agreement. You cannot. The lease agreement will be 48 months, 1 to 48. So, but your merchant account If we do know that you're seasonal, you let us know, we close you down, and then we, I believe we need a reopen letter. So when you're about to reopen, well, you send that in, and we'll make sure that our account goes live for billing and it's open. So this way you can board those merchants and they can save that little bit of extra on their down months. This compliance information, obviously everybody's really big into compliance. Have you ever been, compromised? If you have, what have you done? You can fill out this information if you're a helpful hit and a really good hit. If you're using the boarding tool, it's pre-filled out, so it's nice. So, going through the merchant bank account information, number one question of all time, how do I set them up with next day funding? Well, WorldPay, we all call it next day funding, they like to call it alternate funding. No idea why, but your alternate funding box is what you're gonna check. So you have that merchant have their account there. If they batch by 7:30 Central, their money will be in their account the next business day. So it's not gonna, it might, depending on the bank, if you batch on a Friday, it could be there on a Saturday. More likely it's gonna be there on a Monday. Batch on a Monday, it'll be there Tuesday morning. So if you don't check alternate funding, and it's gonna be auto check to premium ACH, that's 48 hours. So if I batch out on a Monday night, we have a Vantive processes that for 1 day. The third day, which is Wednesday, it'll be in their account. So it's 48 hours from batch that they'll see their money. Now, alternate funding, your next day funding is good for your retail merchants. Your Moto merchants, your internet merchants, they're not going to approve due to risk and fraud. Sending over a lot of money the next day on an internet transaction just doesn't happen. Also, you have to think about bars and restaurants. Now, it might speed up the time that they get their money a little bit on the weekends, but you batch out at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to, it's not same day funding. You're going to see your money from a Monday night, until Wednesday morning. So,
can I add something to that?
Yeah.
I don't mind alternate funding when it comes to anything except restaurants, especially if they do tips. Because if you do alternate and somebody gets tired and they go home and don't add the tips, they can't go back the next day and add them. So that's why a lot of times, I'll make them have to do it manually. That way they enter the tips and manually batch it, then hit it.
Yeah. Because you got to make sure you get that 7:30 Central cutoff time. And all of our processing partners are different with their time, so it's nice and easy for you guys. But I'm talking about WorldPay right now. Your relationship manager has the breakdown for each processing partner. I think WorldPay has the latest time, if I'm not, and I think it just goes downhill from there. So kind of depends on where the member banks are and everything like that and what their processes are. Real quick, and just because I have this pulled up, I rarely see this, but you can set the deposit time. Combined means that if there's more than one batch in a day, it's going to grab both of those batches and it's going to combine them into one lump sum. So 250s will be a $100 batch. But if you do by batch, your merchant would see 2 separate line items. Never really do I ever see it by batch, but that's where you would set that up if you ever needed it. Also right here you see that you can type in or write in the bank account information. Nobody looks at that. Please provide a copy of the void check. There are so many typos that could happen from transferring numbers from paper to pen that we do require to have the leasing company, number one, requires the void check. You can't get a lease funded without it. But you also don't want to be on the back end of that receiving call when somebody typoed a number and you find out that it's you, the sales rep, that did it. So always try and get that void check, that bank letter, so that we can really look at a printed version of official document that shows us the account number and routing number. All right, tons of information on this page, because this is the billing page. I kind of start up small up here. Let me see if I can, okay, right here.
Take a quick
so I've got break
break.
time.
Hey everybody, Johnny Van Zandt from Leonard Skinner, here with the sign of Hands and Feet. We want you to go out and donate. We want you to go see them. God bless each and every one of you. Support, support, support.
Amen.
Amen. Hey everybody, Johnny Van Zandt here from Skinner. Hey, I want you to donate to the Hands and Feet, West Side's the best side. There you go. It's where I was born at. Anyway, hey, listen, they're feeding homeless vets, homeless people, helping people recover. They're a good organization. Don't forget, donate to the Hands and Feet, West Side. God bless.
Hello everybody, I'm Amy Gandy from Hands and Feet Foundation. It is a nonprofit organization, 501c3, that my husband and I started 4 years ago. What we do is we feed the least of these. We help the least of these in our community and everywhere else if they want to come. We have hot meals every day from 12:30 to 2. After we eat, we have a Bible study every day. We have clothes, food. Once a month we have free doctors, free psychiatrists, a free optometrist, dentist, and these are real licensed practitioners. And we have haircuts on Mondays. We help people get into rehab and detox from drug addiction, life on the street, where they need help. We have homeless shelters that we facilitate with, that if they want to get off the street, we help homeless veterans get off the street because there's no reason they should be out. And how we do all this, we do it for free from donations, volunteers, and from people like y'all. We would like for you to look us up on Facebook, Hands and Feet Westside. We'd like for you to look at our website, handsandfeetfoundation.org. Our address is 7478 103rd Street, Jacksonville, Florida, 32210. The Bible says that when you have done unto the least of these, you have done unto me. Thank you.
Hey everybody, go to handsandfeetfoundation.org and support them. Don't forget, support, support, support. For the Son of Man who came to seek and save the lost. Luke 19:10.
Hi, it's Rich Norton here with Retriever Merchant Solutions. I'm here with my good friend, Jason Woodward. We have amazing opportunities. Tell them all about it, Jason.
Not only do you get commission up front every single week and get paid on it, but we also make residual income. So let me explain to you what that is. My dad told me my whole life, no matter how successful I was in sales, until I made money while I was sleeping, I was not successful. Well, guess what? Residual income is making money while you're sleeping. So now I'm successful, and we want to help you be successful too.
We'll teach you, we'll train you. Give me a call, Rich Norton at 904-434-4635, or you can email, tell them the email address.
It's opportunity.rps@gmail.com. We want you.
All right, so page 3, the pricing page. What I have over here on the left-hand side is a schedule of fees. So this really is our cost that is due to be entered to World Pay. On the right-hand side is going to be the merchant app, and you basically would plug in all of these fees somewhere into here depending on what type of service you're giving or providing. The main thing to know is that the costs that we have are costs. You write anywhere near that with your residual split, you're not making any money. We're all in this in the end game for that residual payment. So yes, we do have low costs with WorldPay. We've been with them a very long time. We've board tens of thousands of merchants with them. We have a great program with them. But our end game too is to make money at the end of the day. So over here, a couple required billing items that we have in here. Those really transfer over into the discount and transaction fee. Actually, let me step up 1 second. Interchange is always going to be checked. That's highlighted right there. Make sure that is. You never want to pass through anything. So, and then just let us know the business type, retail, restaurant, mail order, internet. That's all you have to fill out in that section. So again, we're going to take our costs into discount rate and transaction fee. So anything above cost is rev shareable, right? So that's what you're going to make. Your base fee is where it starts. We do have options. You can see here we've got a couple plus signs over here. I would say if you're new to the industry, let's not even talk about that right now. I'm not really going to go into detail, but it's a way to kind of bump up more fees. So until you're comfortable with your base fee and your base transaction fee, then get with your relationship manager and say, hey, I'm kind of interested in how to bump up some of these rates a little bit more. But right now, this is where you're going to have them. You have to fill these in. Your relationship manager can't. So whatever you have on here is what's going to be keyed in and what's going to be billed to the merchant. Same thing with American Express. Probably about 5 years ago, somewhere around there, we weren't able to bill for American Express. They were considered a third party. We now have them on our application, but because American Express, being who they are, they have to be separated from Visa, MasterCard, and Discover. They're special. So if your merchant does want to take American Express, you just fill in the same base rates and transaction fee. Probably that's going to match your Visa, MasterCard, Discover right here. Let me see here. Do I have American Express on here? I thought that I did it one time. Okay, so your American Express fee, you've got the rates are a little different. It's 10 and 10. So, you know, if you're matching this right now, you're not making anything per transaction on here. So you got to know, American Express has their own pricing. They want to make a little bit of money off of it too. But we are able to finally bill for it and have them on our statement as well. It used to be 2 separate statements. Back in the day, that was a big deal. Now it's not very, it's very common to see them all combined. But if we are doing American Express, I would like to point out, we have a section right here, American Express section. This seems silly, but if you want American Express, you have to fill it out. I know it's a little bit blurry, but all this is American Express existing number. You can always answer no. We don't care what the existing number is actually behind the scenes. We're going to issue a new number that's tied to WorldPay anyway. So unless you want to go digging around for a 16-digit number that the merchant's not going to have any idea where it is, just mark no, you'll be fine. And then we need to know that the merchant is doing less than $1 million in Amex transaction volume yearly. Now, Amex is usually somewhere between 5 and 10% of the yearly volume. So if you're doing $1 million in Amex, you're a pretty high volume merchant anyways. And then American Express, they take those merchants. So they would go on a different program and American Express would set them up a special pricing. So they do want to know that it's $1 million or less. If you check either one of these boxes, you're not going to be able to apply for Amex. So never check them. We're always just looking for this no and yes. And if you don't have these checked, but you have American Express pricing filled in, it will pend your deal. I know it sounds simple, but it's very important with getting your deal approved fast. This will hold up your deal in validations, and it could put it to the back of the line, and then you might lose a day on getting that approved and shipped. So very important.
Mandy,
Yeah.
I thought checking the last one, that means that I'm going to get all the junk mail from American Express, but you're still going to be set up American Express.
I will double check with Melissa on that. I was always told that if you check either one of these boxes, you have to be a part of the American Express. That's how they'll do it. So if you're doing it different, I wonder maybe your relationship manager might be helping you out with that, or I could possibly have old information. But I've never checked either one of these.
I don't check.
You shouldn't even be like bothering with it. It's like, you know, just check no and yes.
Okay.
You know, diving into that with the merchant is probably too much information that they need to know anyway. So.
I never even told them.
Yeah. All right. So also in here, I'd like to go over. Oops, I went too fast here. Let me back up one. Occurrence fees. So all of these fees right here in the section 9 are the fees that everybody's like, what can I waive? What can I keep? What do I have to do? What do we have going on? So 90% of these fees on here, sure, you can waive them if you don't want to make any monthly fees and any residuals on that. There's very few fees on here that have true costs on them. So you can kind of see in here the on-file fee. We do have a cost of $2 for that. When I say there's a cost, that means WorldPay will take $2 every month from us no matter what we bill on that statement. So if I charge $5, WorldPay's taking $2 of that right off the bat. So I have $3 that I'm going to rev share with my agreement. So obviously I'm thinking payout at the end of the month, $5 to $10 and an on-file fee. I'm sharing $3 to $5. It's really, when you start adding hundreds of merchants together, you start really building those cents onto dollars in your residuals. That's how you play the game, guys. So the occurrence fees, I understand there's fees that merchants might not like to see. They might not like to see an annual fee. That's fine, waive the annual fee, but why don't you keep something like the rep fee on file, the $90 fee. You can mix and match fees here. Rep fee has no cost to it. So what that means is that, well, actually we do, I think we have $17.50. A $17.50 payout to you flat is what the rep fee ends up being. So every time you waive this, you're losing almost 20 bucks a year on one merchant. When you get those rep fee payouts, those annual fee payouts, your PCI payouts, our reps, our experienced reps residuals go up thousands of dollars a month. So these fees are, it's good to know them, it's good to know what you can waive, what your costs are, what you get paid out on, but just to know that, you know, anything that you're waiving on this app is affecting your end of the day income, what you're bringing home, not just ours. So I'd like to just real quick, so the really cost on here is going to be your on-file fee of $5, and then we have a couple fees that are not rev shareable, but the voice off pay, there's a cost for that. It's 95 cents. We're not trying to make any money on that. That's an over-the-phone transaction, no big deal. ACH change fee. If a merchant makes an ACH change, unfortunately, within the first, after 3 months, they get charged a fee. It's a WorldPay's fee. They do bill us on that. So, and card brand usage fee, this is a big one we get a lot of questions on. Please know this is for tiered pricing only. Probably nobody here will even learn about tiered pricing, so it doesn't apply to our merchants that we write on interchange plus models. So right there, that 6 cents might scare some people. We get a lot of questions on that, but it's not going to apply to 99.9% of our book of business anyways. But it does need to be there. We have a paper plan. It is a retriever paper plan. We ship. We have it here. So we have a zero cost advantage. We do have $5.95 to RMS. We do have to pay. If you go to Amazon and try and order a case of paper, it's probably going to be around $30. We charge you $5.95 a month for a case of paper and as much as the merchant needs. We will look at volume. We're not going to send a merchant that does 20 transactions a month, 10 pieces of paper a month, and let that get distributed out. But if the merchant does, 1 million transactions a month, we will make sure they have paper for that. So that comes out of here. But again, rev shareable. So anything over $5.95, you get to enjoy in that as well. So that's for all of our countertop terminals. Any questions on the fees? I know there's a lot to look at the left, seeing what, we get billed. There's swipe simple fees are on the left, wireless fees, all these fees kind of at the bottom we've already talked about, NMI, authorized.net. So you can probably really look up, why am I stuck right here? This guy doesn't like me. So really these come with 6, 7, 10 fees right here is what you're gonna see in these occurrence fees. So the monthly fees, the annual fees are really what you're going to be playing around negotiating with your merchant, along with your discount and your transaction fee. Your internet services, your PIN-based debit, can talk about a little bit, and your wireless. Those are all up here in miscellaneous product fees, and your debit right there. Any questions on this page? I know there's a lot to take in. No, we're kind of good? No, fill out now? You good, Connor?
Perfect.
Okay, we have the signer stage. Full signatures are required, nice and easy. Next page, we only have one more page of this app, nice and easy. So we do need to fill in all this information and make sure they sign both times. Both the personal guarantee, which is needed even for corporations, which is something we didn't require before. And then we've got right here just an acknowledgement signature. Last page is probably one of the most important pages here that we have. It doesn't have the pricing on it or any of that, but it is how we're going to build these terminal files. A lot of people like to leave a blank. We don't know what the merchant's expecting when they get that terminal. So up here on the top, let us know the terminal type and the quantity, obviously. And then down here in equipment options, or note section, or anywhere on this page, I don't care what you do, let us know how you want that terminal file to be. If your merchant wants tips on, if they want invoice numbers, if they want any of the features, let us know, because this is the page that we look to and that WorldPay looks to make sure that all those features are on. Because believe me, if the next day when your merchant gets that terminal, and we've got to turn on these features, we've got to do downloads, you're then going from a 15-minute install to a 2-hour install, and that's not good for anybody, our installers or the merchant. Let's have them plug and play ready by going over some of these options with your merchant. And this page, you can write anything, anywhere, use it as your notepad. Just let us know how to build these files for you so we have it right when we test it before it ships as well. So let us know what you want in it, how you want it to look, and where we're shipping to. And then the last little bit of information is a site inspection. Standardly, we're just saying I've inspected it and that all kinds of the goods and services are as expected. Another hint, you do this in the boarding tool, it's already pre-filled out. I keep going to the boarding tool because it's a lot easier than this paper guy, I tell you. And then you have a signature at the bottom, has to be there, it's your signature. That's our WorldPay application. Any questions? Kind of zoom through that one, that's good, guys. All right. Second part of this is going to be RMS Advantage. Now, RMS Advantage it's a second style of WorldPay applications, fancy applications. I'll pull up the criteria a little bit over here. We'll kind of see if we can see some of this, some of the stipulations for this. So, RMS Advantage has an upfront bonus and a free terminal with it. But with that, we ask for 3 things to happen on this application. One, there's a separate application. So the application I just went over shouldn't be used for our Advantage program. The second thing is I told you earlier, you can play around with monthly fees, how to, if you want to write this at $5.10. There's some fees on here that have to be charged in order to qualify for a bonus and for the terminal. So $9.95 on file fee, $9.95 statement fee, and a $95 annual fee. You do all of that, you write it on this application, you get a free terminal, and you get a bonus. So, nice and easy. With some limited pricing requirements. So pricing requirements they're not even worth really talking about, because you know these are normal pricing rates. We're not gouging our merchants. We're not doing anything. So we're saying if a merchant's processing under $25,000 a month, just make sure you're rated at 25 basis points and 6 cents. Super cheap, super low. We're not asking for anything here. And if they're processing over 25K, you can rate it at 15 and 6. 15 and 6 is about bare bones, guys. So we're not gouging the merchant. We're not gouging you guys. We're not taking anything out of this. We are just saying there is a small pricing minimum, and we'll take a break.